Hunting the world's richest shipwreck, the search for the San José. Somewhere beneath 2,000 feet of Caribbean water lies a ship that has been hunted for over 3 centuries. Not sailed to, not studied, hunted. Down there, the pressure is crushing, nearly 900 pounds per square inch. The water is near freezing. The darkness is absolute. No light, no sound, just a wooden hull resting in silence, with billions of dollars scattered around it. The San José is often called the Holy Grail of shipwrecks, a floating fortune worth up to $20 billion. But for treasure hunters, historians, governments, and even entire nations, it has never just been about gold. It's about finding something the world lost and deciding who gets to claim it. The legend that refused to stay lost. The story begins in 1708. The San José, a heavily armed Spanish galleon, was sailing near Cartagena, carrying one of the largest treasure cargoes in history. Gold, silver, emeralds, and royal taxes collected from across South America. This was not random wealth. This was war money. Spain was deep in the War of the Spanish Succession. King Philip V was running out of funds. Without this treasure, armies would go unpaid. Alliances would weaken and the empire itself could begin to fracture. The British knew this. Through spies, merchants, and intercepted routes, they learned that the Capitana, the flagship, always carried the richest cargo, and the San José was the Capitana, so they waited. The fatal decision. The Spanish knew the British were nearby. They had warnings. They had time. But they also had pressure. The Portobello affair was bleeding money. Every day the fleet stayed delayed meant rising costs, storage, security, supplies. So the decision was made. Sail anyway. It wasn't courage. It was economic impatience. That decision would sink $20 billion. The explosion that ended an empire's hope. When British ships attacked, they intended to capture, not destroy. But war rarely follows intention. A cannon fired at close range struck near the ship's main mast, where the gunpowder magazine was stored. The explosion didn't just damage the ship, it collapsed it from the inside out. Within minutes, the hull was gone. Nearly 600 people died. But that number is incomplete. The manifest recorded officers and elites. It did not carefully record servants, laborers, enslaved individuals, unofficial passengers. And in the deep ocean, even those traces disappear. Spain's lifeline sank into silence. Maps, myths, and obsession. For centuries, the San José became a ghost. Treasure hunters searched using fragmented maps, sailor testimonies, archival guesses, and blind confidence. In the 20th century, a U.S. salvage group later known as Sea Search Armada claimed they had found it. But they couldn't prove it. Because in deep-sea archaeology, finding means nothing without identification. The man who chased a ghost. Roger Dooley didn't search the ocean. He searched paper. For decades, he reconstructed routes, battle positions, and geographic clues from Spanish archives. His breakthrough wasn't a map. It was a pattern, a convergence of data that narrowed the search from the Caribbean to a specific patch of seabed. By the 2010s, technology took over where intuition ended. How do you find a ship 2,000 feet down? You don't look. You eliminate everything else. Using sonar, AUVs, and ROVs, researchers scanned the ocean floor for anomalies. And then they saw them. Cannons. But not just any cannons. The dolphin forensic. These weren't generic weapons. They were fingerprints. The bronze cannons had dolphin-shaped cascabels, distinctive loops cast at the foundry. In the 1700s, cannons were handcrafted. Each foundry had its own style. When archaeologists saw the dolphins, they weren't guessing. They were matching. Historical records describe these exact cannons. The San José was known to carry 62 or 64 bronze cannons. At that moment, the wreck stopped being a possibility and became a certainty. What they found was not chaos. You expect destruction. Instead, they found order. Because of how the ship sank, it formed a closed context site, a perfectly preserved archaeological environment. Porcelain cups still stacked, coins still clustered, objects still in place. Why? Because the ship didn't drift. It dropped. Heavy with nearly 200 tons of treasure, it plunged straight down like a weighted dart. The past didn't scatter. It compressed. A ship frozen in layers. The San José is not just a wreck. It is a layered archive of empire. Top layer, personal belongings, porcelain, elite goods. Middle layer, cannons, weapons, gunpowder. Bottom layer, silver bars, gold coins, emeralds. Top heavy with war, bottom heavy with wealth. When it collapsed, it created a compressed timeline, a cross-section of 18th century life. To excavate it is not to dig. It is to read it. Why the treasure is almost impossible to recover. Finding it was the easy part. Recovering it is something else entirely. 1. The ship is chemically fragile. After 300 years, the wood is no longer wood. Salt water has replaced its structure. If brought up too quickly, water evaporates, salt crystallizes, internal pressure builds, and the material can collapse at a microscopic level. Preservation requires decades of treatment using polyethylene glycol PEG. Sometimes preservation costs more than the treasure itself. 2. The treasure has transformed metals have fused into massive concretions. But the emeralds are different. Muso emeralds don't react like metals. Many may still be intact, hidden inside ceramic jars or buried in silt. To find them, scientists use micro-CT scanning like medical imaging to see inside solid rock before cutting. This is not treasure hunting. It is surgery. 3. The digital twin. The biggest breakthrough isn't extraction, it's restraint. Instead of removing artifacts, researchers are building a digital twin, a full 3D reconstruction using tens of thousands of high-resolution images. Using thousands of overlapping high-resolution photos, scientists are stitching together a model so precise that you can read the markings on a single olive jar, or see the hairline cracks in a porcelain plate from a computer screen thousands of miles away. Every coin, every cup, mapped to the millimeter. Historians can explore the wreck in virtual reality without disturbing it. For the first time, we can study a shipwreck without destroying it. 4. The cost of touching the past. Recovery could cost hundreds of millions, and once disturbed, the site can never be restored. So the real question isn't, can we recover it? It's, should we? The dark side of the treasure. The wealth aboard the San José did not begin at sea. It began underground. Much of its silver came from Potosi, where indigenous laborers were forced into brutal mining under the Mita system. The Spanish called it wealth. Workers called it death. The mountain produced silver, but it consumed people. So this treasure is not just gold. It is labor, suffering, extraction, turned into metal. The legal war over a sunken ship. Once discovered, the San José triggered a new conflict. Who owns it? Colombia. It lies in our waters. Spain. It is a sovereign warship. Private companies. We found it. Indigenous groups. It was taken from us. Under international law, warships remain sovereign, even underwater. But Colombia argues that cultural heritage overrides colonial claims. This isn't just law, it's philosophy. What is the San José, really? The San José is not one thing. It is a treasure ship, a war casualty, a graveyard, a scientific archive, a symbol of empire, all at once. The hunt isn't over. The ship still rests where it fell, untouched, contested, studied, because the mystery is no longer where it is. We know that. The real question is, what should we do with it? Final thought. Treasure hunting sounds simple. Find it, take it, sell it. But the San José refuses that script, because this is not just a hunt for gold. It is a confrontation with history, and history does not give up its meaning easily. It has to be uncovered, carefully, slowly, and sometimes not at all. Because in the end, the San Jose asks one final question, not who found it, but who deserves it. Final note. And in 2026, this work has entered a critical new phase. Colombia has moved from exploration into detailed characterization, as the global debate intensifies over whether to begin the first stage of physical recovery.
It's time to study new words in context. 1. Hull. Definition: the main body of a ship that floats on water. Example: the ship's hull was damaged during the storm. 2. Galleon. Definition: a large old sailing ship used by Spain to carry goods and treasure. Example: the galleon sailed across the ocean with gold and silver. 3. Fracture. Definition: a break or crack in something hard. Example: the glass had a small fracture after it fell. 4. The Portobello Fair. Definition: a big trading event in Portobello, where people bought and sold goods, especially treasure. Example: merchants gathered at the Portobello Fair to trade valuable items. 5. Manifest. Definition: an official list of people or goods on a ship or plane. Example: the captain checked the manifest before the ship left. 6. Convergence. Definition: the coming together of different things into one place or idea. Example: the convergence of ideas helped solve the problem. 7. Anomalies. Definition: things that are unusual or different from what is normal. Example: scientists studied the anomalies on the ocean floor. 8. Generic. Definition: not special or unique, common. Example: the store sold generic products at a lower price. 9. Cascabel. Definition: a round metal part at the back of a cannon used for handling it. Example: the cannon's cascabel was shaped like a small loop. 10. Foundry. Definition: a place where metal is melted and shaped into objects. Example: the cannons were made in a metal foundry. 11. A closed context site. Definition: a place where objects stay in their original position and are not disturbed. Example: the shipwreck is a closed context site, where everything remains in place. 12. Clustered. Definition: grouped closely together. Example: the coins were clustered in one corner of the ship. 13. Excavate. Definition: to dig carefully to find or study things buried in the ground. Example: scientists excavate old ruins to learn about history. 14. Silt. Definition: very fine sand or soil found at the bottom of water. Example: the treasure was covered in silt under the sea. 15. Override. Definition: to cancel or replace something with a new decision or rule. Example: the manager can override the system if there is a mistake.
Comprehension questions. 1. What is the San Jose and why is it important? Answer: the San Jose is a Spanish shipwreck that carried a large amount of treasure, and is important because of its historical and financial value. 2. Where is the San Jose located? Answer: it is located deep underwater in the Caribbean Sea. 3. Why was the treasure on the ship so important to Spain? Answer: the treasure was used to pay for war, and without it, Spain's army and power could weaken. 4. Why did the British want to attack the San Jose? Answer: they wanted to capture the treasure and weaken Spain during the war. 5. What mistake did the Spanish make before the ship sank? Answer: they decided to sail even though they knew the British were nearby. 6. What caused the San Jose to sink? Answer: a cannon hit the ship's gunpowder area, causing a large explosion. 7. Why is the number of people who died not exact? Answer: because not everyone on the ship was recorded in the official list. 8. Why did early treasure hunters fail to prove they found the ship? Answer: they could not clearly identify the ship as the San Jose. 9. How did researchers finally narrow down the ship's location? Answer: by studying historical records and finding patterns in the data. 10. What helped scientists confirm the identity of the ship? Answer: the unique dolphin-shaped parts on the cannons. 11. What is a closed context site? Answer: it is a place where objects remain in their original positions without being disturbed. 12. Why are many objects on the ship still well organized? Answer: because the ship sank quickly and dropped straight down without scattering. 13. Why is it difficult to bring the ship and objects to the surface? Answer: because the materials are fragile and can break or collapse when removed from water. 14. What is the digital twin and why is it useful? Answer: it is a 3D model of the wreck that allows scientists to study it without touching or damaging it. 15. What is the main question people are debating today about the San José? Answer: whether the treasure should be recovered or left untouched.